Good morning and welcome to lesson 193. All things are lessons love would have me learn. And this sort of ties in with us speaking about our prayer yesterday morning and how everything is filled with opportunity. So we'll take a moment before we dive into the lesson just to have a little quiet Zen time and anchor ourselves in the present. So closing your eyes down or softening your gaze. And this morning, just softening your shoulders, softening your jaw and your brow. Noticing your breath. Breathing in love and breathing out love. Breathing in love and breathing out love. We begin this day in gratitude. We open our hearts and we surrender to love. We ask love to lead the way through the minutes and the hours of this new day. We welcome joy, fun, and abundant prosperity. We recognize that all encounters are wholesome and that all experiences can be met with a peaceful heart that is anchored in the truth that we are one, that we are love, and that we are free. We release these words and we let it be. Okay, so here we go, lesson 193. All things are lessons God would have me learn. God does not know of learning, yet God's will extends to what God does not understand, in that God's will wills the happiness God's child inherited of God be understood, undisturbed, eternal, and forever gaining scope, eternally expanding in joy of full creation and eternally open and wholly limitless in God. That is God's will. Put simply, God's will is for you to be happy for who you are, to be undisturbed, for you to be forever expanding in joy and just knowing how magnificent you are. That is God's will. So God doesn't understand the idea that you have to learn this, but his or her will extends into what it does not understand. God sees no contradictions, yet God's child believes it sees them. So the part of you that is asleep to who you are sees contradictions. Thus, it has a need for one who can correct its erring sight and give it vision that will lead it back to where perception ceases. So we get led back to love and to seeing correctly. God does not perceive at all. So, source, divine light, whatever word you want to use, the universe, it doesn't perceive anything. It only knows love. Yet it is God who gives the means by which perception, because God gives the means of everything, which perception is made true and beautiful enough to let the light of heaven shine upon it. It is love who answers what God's child would contradict and keeps the child's sinlessness forever safe. So we are always held in innocence by the universe or by source, no matter what. So these are the lessons that God would have you learn. God's will reflects them all, and they will reflect God's loving kindness to the child God loves. So really, God is always wanting you to be happy. So whatever means you can use to return you to happiness, to your innocence, to your childlike qualities. And if you're lucky enough to be around small children, watch their innocence, see their innocence, and recognize that that's in you. The form alone, each lesson has a central thought, the same in all of them. The form alone is changed, and with different circumstances and events, with different characters and different themes, apparent but not real. So remember, we're seeing all this in the illusion, so it appears real, but it's not real. And they are the same in fundamental content, and it is this: Forgive and you will see this differently. So no matter what's showing up in your life, forgive, see it in its true light, which is what forgiveness is, recognizing that behind whatever you're seeing lies only innocence. Forgive and you will see this differently. Very simple. Forgive and you will see this differently, no matter what it is. It is certain that all distress is only unforgiveness. Yet that is the content underneath the form. It is the sameness which makes learning sure, because the lesson is so simple that it cannot be rejected in the end. No one can hide forever from a truth so very obvious that it appears in countless forms and yet is recognized as easily in all of them if one sees the simple lesson there. And it's repeated again. Forgive and you will see this differently. I was in a situation the other day with my mom where she seemed to be controlling a situation because of how she wanted the outcome to be. And as I sat there kind of watching what she was doing and what was happening, I could feel this anger rising up in me. And I took time to acknowledge, why was I upset and why was I angry within myself? Then I asked Holy Spirit, what did I need to do? And what I needed to do was to speak honestly to my mother. And within that speaking honestly, I also had a space, I suppose, to really see that where she was coming from was a place of love. There was no malice in anything she was doing. She just wanted to orchestrate things in a way that she believed was loving. There was no malice intended whatsoever. But it's the grace of God and the taking the time that allows us to see things differently. So it was forgiving anything that I was seeing, but also forgiving my judgment. Forgiving my mum for how she was showing up as love or as fear, or whatever you want to name it, because in fact, the demonstration looked like fear, but when I dropped beyond it all, there was nothing. There was only love, So I've said this before, like we're at nothing unless we practically apply these lessons in our everyday life. Otherwise, we're just reading something every morning. So we've got to bring them into our life and we've got to use them. And this lesson is a great one for, applying with the Holy Instant. So you take a pause, you check in, you check with the Holy Spirit. What's happening here? What am I seeing here? What am I needing to know? And then you apply your forgiveness. You ask to see things differently as well. So these are the words the Holy Spirit speaks in all your tribulations, all your pain, all your suffering, regardless of its form. And that is really important because we tend to make some things much bigger and smaller. A thorn in your side is a thorn in your side, and a thorn can be a very small thing. So these are the words which temptation ends, guilt abandoned, and is revered no more. So that even seems crazy. Do we revere guilt? Actually, we do. We romance it. We hold on to it. We have relationships with it. It affects so much of our lives. These are the words which end the dream of sin and rid the mind of fear. These are the words by which salvation comes to all the world. Forgive, and you will see this differently. Will we not learn to say these words when we are tempted to believe that pain is real and death becomes our choice instead of life? Will we not learn to say these words when we have understood their power to release all minds from bondage? These are words which give you power over all events that seem to have been given power over you. You will see them rightly when you hold these words in full awareness. And do not forget these words apply to everything you see or any other looks upon amiss. So anybody you're looking upon, without eyes of love, any other way other than love, then you apply this lesson to. How can you tell when you are seeing wrongly or if someone else is failing to perceive the lesson they should learn? Does pain seem real in perception? If it does, be sure the lesson is not learned, and there remains an unforgiveness hiding in the mind that sees the pain through the eyes the mind directs. So if it's still feeling off, it's still feeling off, and unforgiveness hasn't been utilized. Or unforgiveness, is still there, and the forgiveness hasn't been utilized fully. God would not have you suffer thus. So your Creator does not want you to suffer. We need to drill that home. We're not here to suffer. God would help you forgive yourself. God's child does not remember who it is, so we've forgotten who we are, and we need this in order to remember who we are. And God would not have it forget the love and all the gifts God's love brings with it. Would you now renounce your own salvation? Would you fail to learn the simple lessons heaven teachers set before you, and all pain may disappear and God may be remembered by you? So, are you going to say yes to this again, or are you going to reject this? All things are lessons God would have you learn. God would not leave an unforgiving thought without correction, nor one thorn or nail to hurt God's holy child in any way. And I think they're really, really comforting words to realize that, there is no creator that wants us to suffer in any way. Love would ensure the child's holy rest remain untroubled and serene, without a care, in an eternal home which cares for it. And God would have all tears be wiped away, and none remaining yet unshed, and none waiting their appointed time to fall. For love has willed that laughter should replace each one, and that God's child be free again. And that's my favorite word, freedom, when I see it showing up anywhere. And ultimately, that's what we're wanting to know, is our freedom. We're very aware that we have free will, that we can do what we want, but we want to know it. We want to know that freedom within us to live a life of joy. We will attempt today to overcome 1,000 seeming obstacles to peace in just one day. Let mercy come to you more quickly. Do not try to hold it off another day, another minute, another instant. Time was made for this. Use it today for what its purpose is. Morning and night, devote what time you can to serve its proper aim, and do not let the time be less than meets your deepest need. And for me, I think, having these phrases sort of at the ready, I kind of always say, have them in your pocket, have them ready to apply to anything that shows up without denying your feelings. Like I was saying in my story, I took time to acknowledge what I was feeling. I was even curious about why might I be feeling it. And at the same time, I also took time to drop in deeper and see what was really there. What was I really knowing? So give all you can and give a little more. For now we would arise in haste and go on to our Creator's home. We have been gone too long, and we would linger here no more. So we don't want to stay in the pain any longer than we need to. We never needed to in the first place, actually. And as we practice, let us think about all things we saved to settle by ourselves and kept apart from healing. So sometimes we have these things. I know for me, it would have been worries about money. For some reason, I thought I'd settle those ones by myself, and I keep them apart from my healing. I didn't bring them right into the picture with love. I didn't ask love to shine its light in this area of my life for a very long time. So look out for things like that. Or even if there's something you're holding against somebody that you kind of think, I'm not ready to forgive them yet. I'm just not ready. I'm going to hold on to that for another while. Bring it up. Have the willingness. Remember, God does the heavy lifting. So you just have to bring it up to the light and say, you know what? I need some help with this. I want a new perception of this. I want to see this differently. Let us give them all to the Holy Spirit, who knows the way to look upon them so that they will disappear. Truth is the Holy Spirit's message. Truth is its teaching. Its are the lessons God would have us learn. Each hour, spend a little time today and in the days to come in practicing the lesson in forgiveness in the form established for the day, and try to give it application to the happenings the hour brought, so that the next one is free of the one before, so that you're not having a build up. So literally, as events happen, as things happen, as you move through your day to day, you're going to be applying this lesson. The chains of time are easily unloosened in this way. Let no hour cast its shadow on the one that follows. And when that one goes, let everything that happened in its course go with it. How beautiful. Literally, if we let each hour go. And so there's no accumulation of stuff behind us. That's just so beautiful and so freeing. Thus you will remain unbound in peace eternal in the world of time. This is the lesson God would have you learn. There is a way to look on everything that lets it be to you another step to God and to salvation. To all that speaks of terror, answer thus: I will forgive, and this will disappear. To every apprehension, every care, every form of suffering, repeat these same words, and then you hold the key that opens heaven's gate and brings the love of God the Creator down to earth at last, to raise it up to heaven. God will take the final step of his or her own self. Do not deny the little steps God asks you to take. So deny nothing and just say, I will forgive, and this will disappear. Like, don't make up your own rules. Don't have your own agenda around this, because you're only delaying the process. I will forgive, and this will disappear. Okay, let's take a moment. I was going to say for a mind search, but not necessarily for a mind search, but just see, is there anything there that you could apply this to? Forgive and I will see this differently. It's something probably popping up right now. So let's just take a moment with it. I invite you to close your eyes down. And maybe a few things popping up, and just be with them. When you're ready, gently opening your eyes. And again, just being willing to practice this lesson for the day, each hour as it goes by.